Hari Om. We've recently been speaking of the teachings of the Buddha and how the pinnacle of the Dharma that the Buddha promotes, that the Buddha presents to us, is to bring the mind to rest. And once the mind has come to a complete rest, through control and purity and following all the precepts that lead to a pure, devoted, and calm mind, then the essence of our being will manifest. But the Buddha does not mince words, for he says that this is not an easy path, even though the path to be followed is a middle path where the strenuous sadhana or the strenuous spiritual exercise and practice that we daily do should be tempered in a moderate way, not too loose, not too stiff. As a veena or a musical instrument is tuned, the chords of our mind and heart should not be too loose, and therefore our habits should not be given free play through laxity, but we should not be overexertive in our efforts to try to grapple with the mind. But the Buddha does say this in his own words from the last teaching that he gave. It is very difficult to introduce the Dharma into a world filled with injustice and false standards, a world that is vainly struggling with insatiable desires and discomfort, a world that is not at rest. The Buddha faces these difficulties because of his great love and compassion. So we can look at the teaching of the Buddha, specifically the Noble Eightfold Path, which is really the hub of the wheel of Dharma. And we can look at it as a true path of progression, taking the first noble path, the first virtue, and moving from one to the next to find how all of these discomforts, all of this upheaval in the mind and heart can be actually quelled. So the very first, the Noble Eightfold Path is right view. This is exactly what all of the great saints of the East say, that literally what we need to do is to change our to eliminate our habits and change them by correcting our angle of vision. Literally the way we look upon the world and our movement within it. And if we look upon the world as a world that has potential rest and blessedness and joy, then we feel compassionate to our own self first, for truly charity does begin at home, to put forth effort to correct our vision, and from right view comes right thought. When our angle of vision is corrected, when we see that we must put forth effort and we must actually follow, as it says in Sanatana Dharma, the yamas and niyamas, things that we should be doing in life, as well as things we should be avoiding, virtues which we should be inculcating in our mind, and abstinence which we should refrain from, for these things cause turbulent thought. So the way we're looking upon our own movement and involvement in the world will affect our right thought. And from right thought will come right speech. It is said by Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa that if one has truth, then truth will prevail and the heart will become pure. Mahatma Gandhi once said this wonderful and very profound saying, that in the beginning of his work to try to enlighten his mind and free his people, he thought that God was truth. But later, toward the end, he realized, as he said in his own words, truth is God. For from right thought comes right speech. From right speech now comes one of the most important aspects of the manifestation of our internal or Buddha nature, which is right behavior. if we have a right view, then from the right view will come right thought. Then from right thought will come correct and right speech, and then right behavior. Our actual habits will follow, in a sense, naturally from the fact that our mind is now persevering in truth. And from our right behavior will come our right livelihood. So we see that changing our habits is not just a matter of looking at them and saying, well, this I've been doing and that I should be avoiding, this I should be improving in my life. It's not that easy, because these are habits from lifetimes and lifetimes of wrong effort, wrong view, wrong speech, and wrong behavior. So we should understand that from the beginning we should correct our thought by our angle of vision, understanding that we need improvement. We need to transcend the human creature and to become truly divine. It takes effort, and through that we will find right speech, right behavior, and finally right livelihood will manifest. And from right livelihood we find then right effort and right mindfulness and right concentration will come to us. So we see the effort that we need to put forth is not the first aspect of our sadhana. It comes literally far down. We must first try to correct our speech, our behavior, our thought, our livelihood. Then from these things, when we have adopted all of these, then the effort will become right. And from right effort will become a right mind. And then, of course, when the mind is set aright, we find the pinnacle of what will cause our Buddha nature or our internal Atmanam, the pure mind, to manifest forth, which is concentration. The Buddha once said that this effort we're putting forth is like building a bridge over a raging rapid river. And in the East, as well as many we find in the Western world, a bridge over a river is constructed with 3 pillars, one on each side of the shore, either shore, and then one in the middle of the very, very turbulent spot, the most area where the violence of the river is gushing forth. And he said these 3 pillars are virtue, discernment, and concentration. But we find that virtue, the Buddha places on one side of the river, discernment on the other side, but in the actual center, the one that is the pillar that will hold up the actual entire bridge, or that which will hold up our entire effort to get across this ocean of samsara, this world of suffering, is concentration. So therefore, our practice of meditation, which in a sense strengthens the muscle of the mind and heart, which is now through our livelihood been corrected slowly, then our concentration is now the final of the Noble Eightfold Path, which we're trying to strengthen. This is done, of course, not only through the practice of meditation, but as well great prayer. So let us pray, let us go forth, and let us follow the Buddha, that his compassion and love will be as a medicine to us, that we will have all of the right paths that he has laid before us, beginning with right vision, then moving through right thought, right speech, right behavior, right livelihood, then finally to come to correct and right concentration, where we'll be actually contacted with the divine essence within us, and that which is divine will manifest, and through that which is said the God of love will come to us, and we will love and find true joy